very excited to be here tonight as part of the team for the large corporate turnaround of the year, Helix Diagnostics. And I'm standing here with some of the best insolvency counsel in Michigan. I have Judy Miller and Kim Clayson from Taft Law, who are instrumental in getting this deal to the goal line. And Judy, I'm gonna start with you first. Tell me something about the transaction that you were really proud of.
Well, two things, Pat. Number one, and Bob Bassel, who represented the debtor, would tell you the same thing. This case was dead on arrival. It's a miracle that we were ultimately be able to have a restructuring and to get a plan confirmed. Number one, Comerica was not going to lend a cent. And had we not had the White Knight, OXO Investment Partners, who was represented by Bob Wolford, come in and buy out the debt, there wouldn't have been anything to reorganize. That, number one, was facilitated the reorganization. But the thing that I'm really proud of with regard to the restructuring is, in the fall, when we had a sale pending, there were some issues that arose with regard to new claims and how to structure the plan with these new claims. And ultimately, we had a day-long meeting with all of the constituents, and ultimately we're able to structure a payout that allowed for a potential dividend to the unsecured creditors. And that allowed us to move forward. And I'm really proud of the fact that we came up with a creative way to provide some potential funding for the unsecureds, because absent that, there wasn't anything for them. Here they have a possibility of recovering not only from the Chapter 5 causes of action, but also from the recovery of the COVID testing claims that were otherwise subject to the security interest of OXO. And we did a tiered approach so that OXO carved out some money. The other part that was really allowed for the confirmation of the plan was that we got OXO to agree to fund the admins and the priority claims so that we could confirm a plan. Otherwise, there was no money there to do so. So all in all, everybody worked together to create a result that provided a benefit for the purchaser, the secured creditor, the unsecured creditors.
I've worked with both Judy and Kim on Unsecured Creditors Committee, and I think, Kim, you would agree that one of the gauges of success is getting a dividend to the unsecured creditors who are clearly out of the money and don't have that. Can you comment on that a little bit in this process as to how important that was and what the tone was for the unsecureds?
Yeah, certainly. I think for most of the case that we were really uncertain as to how we could create an opportunity to get a dividend to unsecured creditors. So this ability to work with OXO and work out a deal that really required a whole lot of cooperation gave us the chance to put something on the table for the unsecured creditors. That's what we spent a lot of the time trying to focus on through negotiations and ultimately push for and advocate for throughout the process. And so now we feel confident that there is a good chance that where there was nothing, there's a better chance that something will come to the unsecured creditors at the end of the day.
I tell you, these two are some of the best fiduciaries for unsecured creditor claims. They're tenacious, they fight to the death, and they make sure that there's something for people who really depend. Many of them are closely held businesses, companies that really depend, and without the collection of a receivable, they can go out of business too. And so I've always appreciated working with you because you keep your eye on the prize and make sure we get to the goal line. And it's a pleasure to be part of this team, talking about this transaction tonight. And thank you for participating with us.
Thank you so much. We really appreciated the role that your colleague, Russ Long, provided. There wasn't enough money in the estate to have a separate financial advisor for the debtor and for the committee. And early on, everybody recognized that the committee was going to have some needs. And Bob Bassel, who represented the debtor, had no issue with Russ really having dual roles, providing information to the debtor when and as necessary, and providing expertise and financial information to the committee, absent which we wouldn't have been able to have the necessary information to move forward and negotiate to have the kind of deal we had. So we appreciate that.
We do a lot of tough work in very adverse circumstances, but the insolvency group, both on the legal side, on the financial advisor side, they work together to get a result. And that's a great example, Judy, of, arguably differing interests, but willing to come together to get a result. So, you know, a great deal, and we're happy to stand on the stage with you guys tonight to receive this award, and a great event.
Thank you.
So thank you.
We're very pleased to have been able to work with you.